Hello, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, welcome back to the Minecraft Forever world. The last few months have been very busy for me, so I haven't been recording, but I have been working on the server. So the first thing you'll notice, just kind of in the background there, is we have a nether portal. I did that off screen. And there's a specific reason why we need a nether portal, other than, you know, the main aim of the game. But before we get into that, Noel's Tower has had some renovations, which you can see here. We've used the add-ons that we have in the world to create a nice kind of unique design that you wouldn't otherwise get. And then above us here as well, we've got this beacon. So I could have done a redstone lighthouse, but I wanted to kind of keep it less technologically advanced and kind of more traditional. So rather than having a redstone lighthouse that has like moving parts, I just wanted to do like a fire. Like in Minas Tirith, you know, the beacons are lit. I wanted to have like a big fire above. And when I was working offline, I recorded some footage. So at some point in this video, you'll see how good this actually looks. Off in the distance here, I wanted to build the nether portal over this way. And I'll explain why in this video or in a coming video. But I was sailing back from over there. There's these big rock pillars. The render distance won't show them. As we were coming back, the tower, Noel's Tower, came into view, and you could actually see the copper and the fire, which made it look really cool. It's essentially serving its purpose. So at some stage through the video, I'll pop that up on screen. You'll see exactly what I mean. We've just got a few decorations here, nothing too crazy. But then we have further developments where I've connected Noel's Tower to where we eventually want to build our house. The manor house up here on the hill. So if we come down here quickly, you will see a kind of zoomed back view of Noel's Tower. So the idea is that this gap here, as you know if you've watched previous videos, this leads down to our mine or our dwarven city. So this ground level here, you can get through Noel's Tower up to the house, or eventually there's going to be stairs up here as well to the house. So there's like multiple different access points, and this bridge will be continued across this gap here. I'm going to try to do like an arched bridge across the house. So you've got kind of 3 points of contact. If you're in the house, you can come down the stairs, you can come down Noel's Tower, and then you can get to the mines. Kind of tie in the 3 locations we have together. So I'll let you admire it. I don't think I'm done with it, right? So up until this point, up until this black layer, I'm happy. I think it looks good. It's quite a thick tower. Like Rapunzel's tower traditionally is like really skinny, and then it has the mound on top. But this is quite thick. So I think what I'm struggling with is it's so thick for how short it is. So I think ideally, maybe over time, what we need to do is take this black layer here and increase it to about there. And then, you know, the peaked roof. I'm really happy with the peaked roof, but again, it's not pointy enough for how short this tower is. So we want to go maybe the black layer up to here, and then the actual peaked roof probably somewhere up there, you know, maybe 20, 30, maybe even 50 blocks higher than it currently is. But we don't want Noel's Tower to drown out the house either, you know, so we have to balance that build. But yeah, look, those are things for down the line. Our little bee farm is doing very well. These are all vanilla bees. So I have the bees add-on now by, I think it's Feed the Beast. These are all just vanilla hives with vanilla bees, and they're all working and happy. In the pursuit of food has always been an issue for us on this server, so I'm just getting sick of that. So I've built another farm over here in addition to our farm over there. And the idea is eventually is when you're in the house, you'll be able to see this big, massive, sprawling farm. Like this farm will start here and finish well over there by the beach. So it's like these kind of rolling hills of crops outside of the city walls. So let's continue. Is Neil deGrasse Tyson would say. Our farm is as is. I've built up the chickens a little bit. Just been doing a lot of like cutting trees, harvesting crops, cutting trees, harvesting crops, and from that we've tons of seeds and we've tons of wheat. So our sheep, our cows, and our chickens have kind of increased in popularity, or in population, I should say, not popularity. Our farm here. This is a temporary farm. It will not stay here. It was this is where we started out for anyone new to the channel. That was our original house. This was our original farm. This is a temporary thing. And then also potatoes here. Potatoes and beetroot. So nothing crazy has changed here. What I have done, I suppose, is done quite a lot of land surveying. Traveling around, like cutting down trees, you know, over in that direction, over in this direction. And I kind of got scaffolding and built up to a height to kind of lay out, at least in my mind, how I would how I should build this area. You know, how should the town look? So I had a better idea, and what I did is I went into a separate creative world. So this world is unaffected. This world is still survival with a couple of add-ons. No cheats, no creative mode, nothing like that. But I went into creative mode and got a picture of the land that's above us. As in the overall town that's above us now. And I kind of laid out what I want to do. So I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Because it's quite a there's actually a good bit of talking to be done about our plans for the future. And something that I've ignored as I was coming down here is this is now all stone. This is all natural stone. This section was largely cobblestone. I had to fill it in. You might actually be able to hear the running water and the game volume in the background. We got to about here, I'd say, and then it transitioned into cobblestone because I had to build this area. And then we hit solid rock again, so there was a lot of andesite up here. That's all gone. I've kind of made the cave a bit wider up here, a bit wider here as well. Are these still... Yeah, these are 2s now as well, so really this guy... It's technically a 2, I suppose. But I wanted my stairs to be 2s rather than up one, out 1. It's now up 1, out 2. All the way down. So 2, 2, 2, 2. And you can see, well, hopefully you can see I've tried to kind of keep a natural enough feel to the cave. So it's not perfectly symmetrical. It's not, you know, 100%. But as we get down here, we start to transition into the Dwarven City. So it does start to get more perfect. And more symmetrical and more intentional. And I suppose a similar story where a lot of this was diorite and andesite and granite. It is now mostly stone. There's still a few bits left to do up here, for example. Along the walls as well. You can see where I've mined this out. This was, you know, taken out and then I ran out of stone, so I couldn't fill it back in. There was 2 zombie villagers here. That's why this boat's here. I was hoping to cure the 2 zombie villagers, but I don't have the means to make potions yet. So there's... Do I have any torches? I don't. It seems a little bit dark. Darker than usual. I don't think I've changed my settings, but it does seem a little bit dark in here. I suppose while we're here, you can kind of see the eventual vibe that I'm going for. This kind of arch theme. So anytime there's an entrance, you know, or a transition, there'll be this kind of big, majestic arch. And all this will be filled in, so, you know, at the moment you can tell where there's cave and where there's man-made stuff. I want to kind of transition it to make it look more natural on this side. So this kind of blocky, stepped, this is naturally generated by the game. This effect, I want it on this area and this area to blend in the kind of artificial look, I guess. Nothing crazy here. You'll notice the trees, obviously. I've been trying to generate charcoal down here, so rather than going up and down, up and down, up and down, I've started making charcoal down here. So harvest trees, charcoal, charcoal makes stone, stone makes the tunnels. We're just gonna loop around here to the back. You know, nothing changed here, as you can see. Ugh. Trying to jump and not hit off stuff. So this is the other side of the tunnel, the kind of main tunnel at the moment. It obviously looks big at the moment, but it is quite small. It isn't grand enough for a dwarven city. So eventually what I'm going to try and do is make this like almost like a side road. This looks big now, but by the time we're done with this area, this will actually be one of the smaller corridors, is what I'm hoping to do. And again, I ran out of stone, but this didn't always look the way it does now. So what I've tried to do is put a curve on this wall. So you're coming down here, you know, this tunnel doesn't go on forever because there's sky here. You know, so I easily could have continued this build straight through the wall, but then this gap would be ruined. So I've terminated the tunnel here, and I've transitioned this wall into a slight curve. So it still has that natural kind of rock formation feel about it, but it leads into our new... You almost died, friend. It leads into our new dwarven tunnel. So obviously this isn't done, but the idea is that this guy will be the same as this guy. Roughly, anyway. It'll roughly have the same shape. And that's where I suppose making this wall kind of a smooth transition. I kind of want to line these two entrances up as kind of naturally as I can. Why is the question? Why would I do this? Why do I care about linking that to this? And I suppose I will show you in a minute, but this is, you know, every couple hundred blocks I have these little setups here for just dumping cobblestone in. Which is great because we're going to need tons of cobblestone, stone, and stone bricks to build our outer wall and our castle and stuff like that. So bear with me. I might speed this bit up just so, you know, you're not listening to me walk down 100 stairs. Okay. Here we are. This is why the corridor is connected to the other. Look at our friend here in the corner. He snuck away there. This corridor, the one we just came down, I want that to kind of seamlessly transition into the original tunnel. I must start naming things. So basically, you can come from Noel's Tower through the dwarven tunnels to our mob spawner. Because we need a lot of bone meal. That's the biggest thing. Is I want to make a mob spawner, or a mob grinder I should say, with this skeleton spawner. Zombies are fine for XP, you don't get a lot out of them. My favourite mob to grind is skeletons, because you get arrows, bows, a little bit of armour, but bones and therefore bone meal. Hugely important to our farm, because we just aren't getting enough wheat quick enough to feed our cows, to feed ourselves. You know, it's been tedious up until now, and the bone meal will help with that. And also our charcoal farm. I am manually cutting down trees with my axe. What I want to do eventually is get a kind of automated farm going, but I need quite a lot of bone meal to do so. A lot of saplings and a lot of bone meal. So bone meal trees, cut down trees into the charcoal generator, and we essentially have infinite food and infinite coal forever once we get this guy set up. If you're not familiar with mob grinders, I am going to do a video on building one, so it's like a little tutorial video. But part of a mob grinder, or at least the ones that I'm familiar with, is it involves water and getting the mobs up a water elevator, and I need soul sand to do that. So, um, that's where the Nether portal comes from. So a lot of work offline. But I've said it before. There's absolutely no point you guys watching a 30-minute video and 26 minutes of that video is me mining and just kind of talking shite. I like to do my videos, if it's boring footage, it's an interesting conversation, or if it's a boring conversation, it's, interesting footage. And like digging this cave out here had neither. It is neither interesting, it's neither like thrilling gameplay nor is it interesting conversation. And to be honest, I've been too busy with work, but we won't talk about that now. So yeah, a lot of offline work, just digging out rock. You can see my approach here. Stone pickaxes, why are you doing that, James? That's a waste of time. Oh, apologies. I forgot, I switched the controls. It's not. So, it's a lot cheaper for me to build tons of stone pickaxes and mine 9 blocks in one hit, rather than building, diamond and iron pickaxes, or the speed advantage. Like the durability, yeah, okay, whatever, but like, we don't have an enchanting table yet, so I don't want to be using diamond tools just for mining out stone. So my approach, albeit, is a little bit tedious. I have infinite wood, infinite sticks, and I have literally infinite cobblestone. So I can make as many stone pickaxes as I want without needing to go back upstairs. That's where the trees come in as well. So I planted trees down here. You'll see what I mean now very shortly. So, these 4 chests here are just all cobblestone. And then, I already have wood down here. So in theory, I can just keep building pickaxes forever. As long as I've coal to make torches, I can stay down here forever without going back upstairs. Other than getting food. So yeah, it's a tedious system at the moment, but it's the best one I have for now. And it is a way for me to switch off as well after work. When I'm coming home from work and I don't feel like recording, it's very easy for me to just kind of zone out and mine, 1,000 blocks with a stone pickaxe. On my second monitor, I'll put on an episode of The Office, or maybe an episode of Top Gear, something, whatever, and I'll just mine away to my heart's content, and I don't need to think about anything, So yeah, in my opinion, it's a win-win. You guys aren't bored to death, and I get a little personal time to just, watch some Top Gear and mine away. So yeah, that's I suppose, the updates. It's been a long time since I've recorded properly in this world, but hopefully you guys can see the progress. And Noel's Tower, it's essentially done now. Noel's Tower is complete, finally opened. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind? And it's not the most impressive build, but it was never meant to be. The purpose of Noel's Tower is kind of a general, kind of standard watchtower in this kingdom. So, maybe by the end of this series, we'll have 8 or 9 towers like this, dotted all across the land. So, it's not the most impressive thing that anyone has ever built, but it's done, and I'm proud of it, and I like the vibe that we have going. It's a little medieval Europe for me. I was hoping to get a more elven kind of theme going here. This to me isn't very elven. It's very the realm of men. Like men would build this, not elves. It's stone, and it's heavy, and it's bulky, and it's, you can see it for miles. Like it's not elven. So I don't know how we fix that. But you know, steady as she goes as well. I won't worry too much about it. So this nether portal, before we head in, let me up here. I'm trying to get this these rock pillars into my render distance. Hopefully it won't take too long. You can actually see the shadow of them there. Essentially what I wanted to do, make sure we're not in danger, yeah. What I wanted to do is take our nether portal and put it on top of that. So it's like a big massive obelisk off in the distance. This kind of, I'm hearing things and they're scaring me. This big massive obelisk, similar to the obelisks in Ark, these big kind of monolithic stone structures. And what I wanted to do is kind of replace a lot of the natural stone with black stone or deep slate or obsidian to give it this, you know, nether dark fortress kind of feel. As a commemoration to my cat, or our family cat, Hades, you know, god of the underworld. He passed away this year. When he passed away, I said it in a previous episode, I want to build something for Hades in this world to remember him by. And the nether portal, you know, the portal to the underworld, basically, that's, nothing says Hades more than that, right? So I want to build a big monument on these stone pillars for Hades. But it's quite a big undertaking because we need a lot of ladders and a lot of scaffolding and obviously a lot of obsidian and deep slate to do so. So it's a work in progress, but I just, you know, couldn't wait. I couldn't wait any longer to get a nether portal. So I just built one over here very quickly. Look, we won't spend too much time in the nether. I just want to show you the kind of general area. Hopefully I don't die. Oh, we spawned in an okay area. I think we can do something pretty cool with this area. You know, like this area, or this ledge, I should say. That's a great window. You know, big glass window looking down into the lava lake. We could maybe build a bridge from here down to this platform, down to that area there. So it's like this big winding staircase all the way down to that lower level. No, I don't think I have a flint and steel on me. What a nightmare that would be, lads. So yeah, definitely not a bad area to spawn into. I've definitely had worse. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase it very quickly. So, I suppose while we're here, you can see, come even further back, right? Come even further back, because it'll tie into what we're about to talk about. From this area, you can see the kind of entrance there, the cave entrance, that kind of natural hole into the mountain. That's going to be the door into the palace, if you like, or the manor house. Noel's tower doing its job. From a distance you can see the light, so at night time, you know, the tower will guide you from the sea, but also from here. You can see Noel's tower. More importantly, Noel's tower can see us, because it's a lookout, right? So if someone was quite good with a bow, chances are they could, you know, they could at least ping me with an arrow and try and hit me from there. This obviously isn't permanent. But you can see, I think you can see the arch there. You can see the vision with the arch. Look at the two trees. It's like the light of the two trees of Valinor. You know, I hope to bridge that from Noel's tower, a nice arch, a nice rock formation, to make an arch there into the manor house. As I said at the start, or earlier on in the video, I duplicated this world and made it creative. And the reason I did that was purely for visualization purposes. I'm not using it to cheat. I'm not using it to, I don't know. I'm just using it to fly around and kind of scout out the area. I would rather spend time in this world building or recording rather than just kind of running around by myself and like thinking things out. So anyway, you can see on screen, this is our area, or the kind of immediate vicinity. The yellow dot, or the yellow circle, here, that's Noel's Tower. That's where we currently are, in Noel's Tower. And what I hope to do is wrap our kingdom kind of around this kind of general area and kind of link up our waterways. So if I start, if you imagine that this is if this is a clock, I'll use clock positions to reference where I'm talking about, and I'll use arrows as well to point, just for anyone who isn't clear on what I'm saying. So if you look at 12 o'clock on this image, we've got these kind of two blue lines and the kind of outermost grey line as well. So that's where we were when we were looking at the stone pillars. It's approximately where the nether portal is. You can see it there in the background, I think. So that's one entrance to our kingdom. So there's going to be kind of towers in that area, either side of the river, acting as almost like a drawbridge. So any ships that are coming in will have to be, stopped and investigated. Once they come into the city walls, if they're invaders, for example, we can drop the drawbridge gate or the portcullis, and that ship is now trapped inside the grey circle. Hello, little bee. And that goes for, we have two other entrances to our kingdom by sea, by ocean, or by water. So we have one entrance at the 12 o'clock position. We have another entrance around 7 or 8 o'clock. And then we have our third entrance, or exit, if you like, at around 5 o'clock. So if you imagine a Mercedes badge, that's what I've kind of got going here. Is 3 entrances kind of like shaped like, the Mercedes badge at 120 degrees to each other. And why have I done it this way? I suppose when I was in the sky looking down, I saw the waterways. So we have this natural river going from 12 o'clock to that kind of 8 o'clock gate, 7 or 8 o'clock. That's a natural river that's just formed. I want to use that as a canal or a waterway for ships to come through our kingdom. So it's like the Panama Canal or the Suez Canal, essentially either side of the canal, we control who comes in and out. And that's really good for trade. It's really good for taxes. It makes our kingdom super prosperous. But I want to link other waterways as well. So just beside the 12 o'clock gate, you can see this kind of thumb shape coming off the side of the river. That's semi-natural water foundations. You can see there's like a little bit of water there. But what I want to do eventually is dig that out entirely and build a dock. So that'll be our harbour. Where if the ships come in, if the ships are just passing through, they'll just continue on. But if they're for us, if they're for our kingdom, they will dock where I'm showing on screen at the moment. That's going to be our dock, our harbour. And we'll build buildings around that area. Fishing lodges, warehouses, all that kind of jazz. And yeah, that'll be our harbour. Then you can see, I suppose, the biggest bit of work we have to do is the kind of centre gate. So right in the middle of the clock, right in the middle of the circle, there's, blue lines drawn by me, but, there's trees and grass there. So what we're going to have to do is dig out a lot of land to connect the third gate. So the gate at the 5 o'clock position, that's cut off from the other two by land. We're going to have to dig that out. and that's going to be a lot of digging, and we're going to need, you know, diamond enchanted tools to dig out that amount of dirt and gravel and soil and stone, etc, etc, etc. And also like the pain of filling it in with water, right? So a lot of work there to be done, but by the time that's done, we'll have, you know, 3 entrances linked by 2 canals. Now, on the right hand side of our map, that's where we currently are. As I said, that's like our current area that we're building on. That's where Noel's Tower is, that's where our palace is, or rather where our palace is going to be, and it's also where our farms are. You know, everything we've done to date is in the right hand side of this image. If you look at the top left hand of this image, you see that yellow kind of circle, of that yellow blob. That's going to be our crops. So I mentioned at the start of the video, I want to have this kind of big sprawling area of farmland. That's what this is. You know, if you look at medieval towns, a lot of the farming would be outside of the inner walls. So you'd have, you know, the main defensive wall of the city or town, but then the keep would have, you know, an inner layer protecting it. So the less fortunate would be on the outside of the wall. They would be the farmers, the peasants, the general folk. So that's why the farm is where it is. So you can see then the bottom left hand, I suppose, the in between our second and third gate, there's just a lot of trees and woodland. I want to kind of keep it that way. I think I want to have like a semi-wooded area where we might build like some nice gardens. We're gonna need wood, right? So my thinking is, how does a kingdom run without timber? This'll be our timber yard. So this area, I'm gonna keep it relatively natural and almost treat it like a hunting area. So if we get an add-on where we have deer, for example, this is where the deer will go. And, you know, the local lord and his knights would go hunting in this area. But it's just, I suppose, to keep it somewhat natural. And who knows, over time we might need to use it for something else. So that's kind of unassigned land, if you like. To the right hand side then as well, I've already talked about it a little bit, but you can see those 2 yellow lines. That's going to be our drawbridge, or the bridge that connects the inner walls to the outer walls. So, like, speaking defensively, we have our outer wall that protects us from attack by land. We have our river gates, if you want to call them that. They will protect us from sea or river. But the inner keep needs to be even more protected. So the inner keep is going to have a second entrance, or a second defensive position, where you have a drawbridge and a portcullis to protect it. So people from, we'll say, the farm area, they can cross over a bridge, get to our inner wall, and then they'll have to cross another bridge just to get to the palace or the fort. So that's the idea, at least. And that doesn't even touch on the Dwarven Kingdom, because the Dwarven Kingdom is underneath this area. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to map that one out. But these are the plans that I have in store. You know, if you're looking at this, I'm maybe, 15 episodes, maybe 14, 15 episodes, I'm not sure. But I'm at least like 100 days in. I'm 120 or 130 days into this. You know, some guys build amazing things in 100 days. That's not me. It's not how I do it. I want to do this nice and slow. But hopefully this image and what I've just spoken about shows you where I want to get to. I'm in this for the long haul. There's a lot of building. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of work digging out all that land. But that's what a forever world is for, you know? So, a different kind of video, I suppose. Not a lot of gameplay, obviously. A lot of talking. hopefully you still got some of the kind of chill vibes from this. You know, there hasn't been any shouting and screaming. Nothing too alarming in this video. So if you found it boring, you know, maybe see it as one of the more relaxing videos that I've made. You know, put a positive spin on it. It's not boring, it's relaxing. But yeah, I suppose I'm still busy with work. Life is still really busy for Orla and I, but I am hoping with the new year to get back into a schedule with recording for YouTube. So, yeah, back into the swing of things very soon. I'm gonna leave it here, folks. Just so the video isn't too long. But Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays, and maybe by the time this is uploaded, it will be New Year's. So happy New Year as well to you, and I hope it's a good one. I hope 2026 brings you a lot of fortune and happiness and peace. Yeah, until next time, folks. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.